There's no logic about going on a bender. It was sex, it was drugs, it was drinking, disappearing from the world just to get high and disappear. There was no logic at all in going on one of these. And when I would go on a bender, I would enable myself. This was like the ultimate enabling for me as an addict. It was poor me. I need this. I need to get away. I need to escape. And a bender was my way out. I would get with the receptionist typically at work. I'd get a hotel room and I would schedule out my benders. I would lie. I always had a doctor's appointment. I always had something that I would call into work and I would be sick that day essentially. I wouldn't tell my wife. She would go to work. I would end up going and meeting up with a dealer. I'd get usually at least an 8 ball, stop by the liquor store. I'd get a couple bottles of vodka. And then I'd end up going over to a hotel, check in, have my cigarettes, have everything where I didn't have to leave. My whole thing of going on a bender for me was like this just escape from the world. My location is off, checking into this hotel, and I'm just going to continually now ruin myself. And I don't share this to like hype up any kind of substances. My drug of choice was alcohol and cocaine. And the last thing I want to do is give across any kind of like feeling that this is like I should do this. No, trust me, cocaine destroyed my life and alcohol destroyed my life. When it came to a bender, I hurt a ton of different people and I was not logical at all. There was no logic behind this. I just wanted to get ruined. And it was like the emotional side of my brain had taken over. This other side of me had taken over that just wanted this massive amount of dopamine because that's what it was. The bender itself wasn't very satisfying. The buildup of the bender, the lying, the sneaking around, picking up drugs, going to the hotel room, waiting for the girl to show up, coming in and her setting her stuff down and us talking a little bit and starting to lay out some lines, that all produced a ton of dopamine. That was like its own euphoric high. And from there, it never matched that high. I could never reach that same high. It was as soon as I started doing this and as soon as our clothes would come off and we'd start having sex and we would start drinking and then it would be more blow, that I would lose myself to it. And it was almost this timer had started that I knew eventually that this was going to be over. And I would go numb to the world. A lot of the time I would somewhat black out. I wouldn't fully be there mentally. And it was my like full disconnect from the world. And that's, I think, what I wanted. I wanted to be disconnected from the world. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be present. And it stopped everything. It stopped all the pain. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel depressed. I felt like a victim. And that's kind of what the bender would bring out of me, is that I was a victim. That I needed this. And I would thrive on the sex and the dopamine from it, the more drugs, the drinking, the disappearing, the ignoring the phone calls. It was a dark place to be. And I would do it on purpose. Like I would plan my benders out. I was a very functioning addict. And that's the part I don't think a lot of people realize is how many functioning addicts there are out there. There are a lot of people that you'll never notice really how bad of an addict they are. I have watched people who were crystal meth addicts, and I could tell. I could tell a bender was coming, I could tell, and they would lose themselves for days. But when it came to cocaine addicts, I knew a lot of cocaine addicts. And the amazing thing is under it all, if you were very oblivious to it, you would never pick up. You would never, ever cross your mind that this person is actually addicted to cocaine and they're heavily using the substance. I was not the only one where I worked that was as addicted to cocaine as I was. The difference though with me is I looked for more chaos. I thrived on chaos. Cocaine and this high that it gave me brought almost calmness and clarity. I wasn't medicated at the time. I have ADHD. And if you know anything, when it comes to ADHD, we don't handle dopamine and create dopamine like other people do. And so to have this flood of dopamine going through your system, it would become hyper focused. And now I'd be hyper focused on, I mean, here I am with this, 20-year-old girl that's good looking body and good looking girl, wanted to get high with me, smoking cigarettes, drinking, doing cocaine, having tons of sex, and taking almost like a nap, resting in between, and then just going back at it, not eating at all, not really drinking at all. A lot of times the cocaine would be cut, and I remember there'd be times like I'd be outside smoking a cigarette with her, and I'd look at her like face, and it looked like she was like anime. And I realized that, oh my God, this is going to be cut with like ketamine, or there was times that it was cut with different things that I wouldn't fully realize until I was in the middle of all this. And I would plan these benders out because I would hide all this from my wife. My wife knew nothing of these benders. And it wasn't like I was going to necessarily like nice hotels. I mean, at one point I was going to Motel 6s. And I remember we were in the middle of having sex at a Motel 6, and they double rented out the room. And we're naked and we're going at it, and the guy tried to open up the door. And luckily, like, the chain thing was locked and he couldn't get in. And I remember she was like freaking out. This was again with the receptionist. And I couldn't convince her to keep doing this, unfortunately. I was like pissed at her because that's all I wanted. And I was mad at Motel 6, so I got my money back and I got a free room out of it. Like, just stupid stuff, man. Who in their right mind does this? And my benders, like, I would sometimes do them overnight, or I would do them multiple days if I could get away with it. And if I couldn't, I would make sure my bender, essentially ended at 7, 8 o'clock, and I would come home, and my wife would think I was gone, and I was at work the whole day. My ex-wife, I did the best I could to hide this from her because she didn't want to go on these essentially with me. I didn't want her on these with me, and a bender wasn't about being with her. Like, part of my bender was escaping from her. When an addict goes on a bender, it's like you lose yourself completely to a substance, and you feel that you deserve it and that you earn this and that you need it. And it's the only thing you can think about. Nothing else like at all matters. Unless it's going to increase dopamine, it doesn't matter. If it's not going to make you feel better and even more amazing, it doesn't matter. So missing phone calls, ignoring phone calls, putting myself in even riskier situations, doing whatever I could that was risky, missing phone calls, almost getting caught, all this excitement and chaos. It was stuff that I thrived on as an addict because all it did was just create so much that I wasn't present in life. I wasn't present in the fact that I needed to be grieving. I shouldn't be married. I had a lot of issues, but it allowed me to run from them all. It allowed me to disappear. And that's what it was about. And I would go on a lot of these, and they would cost me a lot of money, and I didn't care. I would pay the receptionist. Like, I would buy her clothes or whatever so that I could feel like I wasn't cheating on my ex-wife. Like, this was more of like a business transaction. And I understand why a lot of cocaine addicts, or a lot of addicts in general, will hire prostitutes, because you don't feel as guilty cheating. You don't. You feel that this is a service that you're paying for, that there's no emotion there, that you don't really want this person. You just want something that they can give you, which is their body. Amazing how we have this side that we can justify it. And that's, unfortunately, I don't think what a lot of families and partners of addicts realize is that if you're with an addict and they're going on benders, they're probably having sex that's unprotected sex with other people, typically prostitutes or people that they can convince into having sex with them or going on a bender with them, which again aren't the best of people. So you definitely got to get STD, STI tested, because that's the worst part. When you're on one of these and when you're this high and you're just constantly lost yourself to this substance, there is nothing about protection, safety, any of that. Nothing, again, matters except chasing this drag and chasing this high. And the worst part is, the longer that this progresses and the longer that this goes on, you feel worse and worse. It's like there is a difference between Friday cocaine and Monday cocaine. Friday cocaine is like, hey, the weekend's here, I'm gonna party, I'm gonna let loose. There's this whole chasing everything. This weekend's gonna be crazy. Versus Monday, you're probably doing a little bit if you found some off of carpet surfing because you just got done with 3 days of not sleeping on a bender, trying to almost function to go to work. There's a huge difference between Monday cocaine and Friday cocaine. And that's kind of what happens during a bender, is the further that you're getting into this, there's a part of you that knows that it's going to come to an end. And so you just keep grasping at these straws or things that you can do. And that's why a lot of people just don't answer their phone. I mean, I would put my phone on silent because if I didn't answer it and I didn't know, or if I turned my phone off because the battery died, that was always a great one, man. Turning off the phone because the battery died. I didn't know you were calling. I was out somewhere, battery died. bullshit. But unfortunately, that's what we come up with addicts. I mean, we are manipulative, we are very self-centered, and we feel we need this. Getting high, going on a bender, meant more to me than work, my ex-wife, my anything, my family. It meant more to me than if I had to pick between, because I had to do this before in the sense of my job, paying all my bills, making really six figures, or this one day of just drunk cocaine sex. I would pick that over money, over career, over all of this. Why? I couldn't fully tell you, just my brain would tell me that's what I need. That's what's going to make me feel great, and it would only care about this moment right now. And you get sucked into it. And that's why I think it's so hard to explain like what a bender is and why addicts go on these benders. Because there is a part of you that essentially like blocks out, and you don't think anything logical. You're there, but you're not there. And everything is off of impulse. Everything is spontaneous. Everything is like, I was enough that I would plan things out because I would want to enjoy it, I would think, in my head. So I would plan these out somewhat. I wanted to make sure that I had the right drugs. I wanted to make sure that I could be high the whole time. I wanted to make sure I had handcuffs and toys and rope and fun stuff to make it all just wild and crazy. So I would plan these out to an extent. But with a lot of people, once it would start, I wasn't fully there. And I can look back at all these experiences and people be like, oh, that's so crazy, you're reliving your past. I don't remember a lot of it. Like, I remember some of it because I have videos of it. Like, I would record myself having sex with people or having sex with the receptionist or whoever I was having sex with. I have tons of videos I would record because I'd be so messed up that I couldn't differentiate if that was reality and actually happened or if this was something I made up in my head. If I was so high, I believed that this actually happened, and in reality it never did. That's how gone I would be on substances during this. So trying to have this logical conversation or trying to have any of this with me was impossible, and I would come home and just stonewall everything. I was always tired. I always had to go to bed because I have a really bad sinus infection. Whatever's in the air right now is messing with me. And that was one of my go-to excuses. And that's an unfortunate thing. I mean, I lost a lot of my life to cocaine. I lost a lot of my life to alcohol that I don't remember. I don't know fully what I did. And that sucks. Because I think about it, if I would have gotten sober earlier, like how much more amazing stuff could I have done? Because addicts truly, when we get sober, are the most amazing people in the world. And I would think to myself, like, I could have had a crazy, amazing life. Like, I love my life now. I love my wife now, my stepkids, the house that we bought. We just got a office space downtown in Boise. And I'm really excited because I could film there. And there's multiple office rooms in this place that we've leased. And I'm like, I love what's happening. I'm creating an app. But man, if I would have did this like 5 years sooner, where would I have been? How much further ahead would I have been? I don't know. And I don't beat myself up on it because I know a lot of times people just start to beat themselves up on this regret. There was a period in time for a few years that I did beat myself up on this. But eventually I think you let it go and you learn that, hey, where I'm at now, I need to make the most of it. I have to make the most of this. And that's why I share. I mean, this is all for education only, just to share by lived experiences, because we as an addict are looking for understanding. And this video gives you none. This video, I don't think, gives anyone any understanding, except the understanding that this is pure insanity. That's truly how sick we are as addicts, that this shows you how sick we are, that there's no true justification. That's the worst part of being like a sober individual, living with an addict or partnered up with an addict or married to an addict. There's no logic to this. This will never make sense. You'll never get this magnificent answer that, oh, I understand why they did this now. You'll never get that. And that's why I share, though, is because the more that we do share, the more that we share our experiences, the more that it helps people out there. And there's no right or wrong way of getting sober. And that's why I always try to explain to people, like with addicts, we're truly sick. And when it comes to getting sober, you have to find what works for you. You have to want it. You might stumble a few times, whether it's going into rehab, inpatient treatment, or outpatient treatment. Sunflower Sober is an amazing app. They're tagged down below. Go download Sunflower Sober. Start tracking your days of sobriety, talking to the community. You have an AI sponsor. Go to an AA meeting, an NA meeting, an Al-Anon meeting. Go be around other addicts. Hear stories. Share your stories. Getting with your doctor, that was huge for me. I mean, I do EMDR still now. Find the right therapist, CBT therapy, DBT therapy. Find out all the trauma and healing a lot of that grief and trauma and things that we're struggling with that lead us to addiction even. Getting with a doctor and the right medication. Just remember, there's no right or wrong way. There's no secret formula. It's your formula, and you just have to find it and put it together and not give up until you do. So for the ones out there going through it, I'm proud of you. It does get better, and you are worth it.